The final four teams are set for the 2013 High School Mixed Doubles Classic. The field started with 16 teams from 13 high schools in southeastern Wisconsin. We've got them paired down to the final four. In the first semifinal, Kenosha Bradford, our top seed today, will face off against Racine Park. And in the second semifinal, Sussex Hamilton will face off against Waterford. Two winners will then go to the championship match. The winning team will receive a 900 global bowling ball for each team member, along with a pair of Stability Strikes athletic socks. Chad Source and I will be back with that first semifinal match in just a moment. Make sure you stay tuned. The Milwaukee area's bowling party specialist, whether for a small group or a large fundraiser. Daily food and beverage specials, whether you're on the lanes or inside the spacious alehouse. Whether for a casual meeting, business luncheon, or wedding reception, our banquet and meeting facilities can fit your needs. New Berlin Ale House, West Cleveland Avenue, New Berlin. The first semifinal from New Berlin Bowl for the 2013 High School Mixed Doubles Classic. Chad, a couple of really solid teams here out of District 3A, Racine Park versus Kenosha Bradford. Both their teams ranked in the latest high school bowling poll on both sides of the equation. We've got Courtney Johnson starting us off here, and she's been on TV a couple of times with Racine Park in the team events that we've had.
Yeah, anytime you get these teams from the Racine-Kenosha area, you know a couple of things. They're all going to be solid because they all have pretty good coaching.
Right up the boards, right over about second arrow today, and rings up a 10-pin. And we saw a lot of that today at New Berlin Bowl. It was a modified house pattern, so it was just a little tougher than the normal house shot. Bowlers, the quality bowlers, still able to get to the pocket, but it was just a matter of finding out that way to get that 10-pin or that 7-pin out.
And I think anybody that's bowled at New Berlin knows one of the characteristics of the house is you do have a lot of corner pins. Shots always really good, like you said. You can get to the pocket. It's just, can you kick out your corners?
Rolls it up, and it just slides off the end of the lane, and if you're going to open frame number one, because you still got 279 out there, so that always counts for something. Amanda Van Dyne likes to be known for Mandi on the lanes. Many, many Youth Challenge Series appearances. TV last year was Racine Park, Kenosha Bradford in the Midwinter Classic for the girls' finals. And, of course, they battled it out at the state tournament again as well. See Mandi there taking that arm swing on the end of the approach to get loose. Nice follow through at the bottom of that swing, and almost the pocket 7-9, Chad.
Yeah, that was a great shot. You could see the ball driving, and like you said, it almost drove right past the 9-pin, but there's not much of an adjustment you're going to make, if anything, on that.
And of course, here we got to be rooting for the lefty, a freshman out of Racine Park, Andrew Mertins, and of course, good pedigree in that family with his mom, Chris Mertins.
Absolutely.
Nice and easy out of his hand, and wow, a wrap 7-pin.
Oh, that's something like, I've referred to it before, but that's something I've bowled league here for a number of years, and I still have nightmares seeing those 7-pins stand at this place.
So, yeah, you just watch that 4-pin go up and around and not even an inch away from any part of that 7-pin, and of course it can't touch it at all. And like you see all these bowlers do nowadays, they switch to that polyester bowling ball, move across the lane, take a little hand out of it, and that's the key to winning matches today. They had quarterfinal action was match play, best 2 out of 3 games, and we saw a couple of the matches decided by spare making.
Absolutely. Anytime you have these single game matches like this, usually comes down to one ball, one spare, something very simple like that. So the more time all these kids spend on spare shooting, it does pay off for them at some point.
So Ryan Schroeder, Dad John in the crowd, watching. Racine Bowler of the Year the last couple of years. And that one was a little quick out of his hand. You can see he wasn't happy with the speed on that shot and gets by the headpin, just lucky to get the 8 out and leave a 2-4-5.
Well, and you could definitely see where the pattern really picks up its heavy volume. He set it right down on that oil wall, and the ball just skated all the way down, never got into a roll.
I think he likes to sing Justin Bieber songs in his head to keep his rhythm going. I think he got Bieber singing a little fast on that first shot there, Chad. So it's on his bio sheet. We got to say it. So keeps a rhythm for him, though. You get some song in your head, and I've done that too in the past where it seems my rhythm's off. You get a little beat going, a little metronome going in your head, and get you focused and back into your game.
Well, and that's always, at some leagues they try and take it a little more serious. They cut all of the music off, but you know what? I like having it. It just, like you said, it gives you a rhythm. It gives you a way to relax.
Exactly. And leagues for fun. This is where the real competition comes out when the bowlers come out here. And I thought that one was going to carry. It squared up to the pocket. You saw that ball make its move at the end of the pattern, and just once again doesn't get that 10-pin out. 3 great shots by Racine Park, and they have no strikes to show for it.
But if you see her ball going through the pin deck, how much it deflected to the right as soon as it hit the head pin, that's probably what led to that 10-pin.
So, see if she makes that correction off that first frame open, and couldn't cover it any better there. Courtney with a great job on that cover. Keeps her team down by just 12 pins. Don't want to let those matches get away early.
No, you can definitely still see with the scores right there, you're down by 12, but you're still right around a mark. So if the other team has a little bit of a problem, they have an open, you can jump right back in the match.
So Kenosha Bradford, they want to thank Surfside Lanes. They're their home center for all the high school practices and matches that they have. Mandi and Ryan both wanted to thank them for hosting, and a great shot again by Mandi.
Yeah, she's throwing the ball really good, and you can definitely see at the bottom of the swing, she's hitting the ball just at the right point, getting a lot of good leverage into the shot.
I mean, she's got a couple of youth challenge titles under her belt. You've seen her on TV quite a few times over the last 3 seasons. And member of that high school state winning team as well. And wow, once again, a little weak in the pocket. Andrew just can't quite kick that 7 out.
Now there's a number of adjustments these bowlers can make when they leave their corner pins like that. They can move a little bit to the left, to the right, forward, backward on the approach. And one thing that a lot of bowlers will start to do now is they'll start to adjust their speed a little bit. They'll lower the ball about 3 inches, let the ball roll up a little harder.
Yeah, it's on how strong that ball can roll through the pocket. You saw in the replay there once again, ball hit the 1-2 and deflected almost through the 8-pin spot. You can't get away with a lot of strikes with that much deflection on the ball.
Exactly.
So let's see what Ryan Schroeder can do here. Shot getting into the first commercial break of the day here, and I'm sure he'd be looking to get a strike and get his team's lead out to 22 pins. See, he likes to play the lanes direct. He likes to go point A to point B a lot. You don't see him swinging the lane too often. Could be a good quality for a college player in the future.
Oh, absolutely. Nice shot, nice wall shot here. That's the way to carry here at New Berlin.
Absolutely. We're done with the first half of our opening match. Join us for the rest of the 2013 High School Mixed Doubles Classic from New Berlin Bowl in just a moment. Four frames into our first semifinal here from New Berlin Bowl, the 2013 High School Mixed Doubles Classic, presented by our friends at 900 Global. Winning team today gets 900 Global bowling balls for each team member. The freight train's what they'll get today, and I know there's that great new ball coming out around the corner, the bullet train.
Yep, I just threw mine. It's actually a really, really good ball. It goes a little longer than the freight train, but when it picks up a roll, it just explodes to the pocket and gets through the pins really nice.
Maybe we got to get one of those bullet trains in Courtney's hand there, because once again, another 10-pin. She's thrown 3 great shots, quality shots, and just can't get the corners out. It's just one of those things where you can't get frustrated by it, because if you miss another spare in frustration, your team's going to fall even farther behind.
Oh, exactly. But you're looking up at the scoreboard. The other team just put up their first double, and you go, you know what? If we keep going 9 spare, we ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, you're down 24 pins as it is. You can't give them another 10 pins on top of it, or 11 pins by missing that spare. Once again, all the latest equipment. You can always get good ball review videos, everything at 900global.com. Check them out. Mandi Van Dyne up again. 2 for 2 so far today. They were the top seed coming into the TV show. They got a bye through the quarterfinal rounds for being the #1 seed. And Mandi 3 for 3.
Nice shot there, and it almost looked like a 10-pin. And if you watch her reaction, she even thought it might not be a good shot, but she got that 6 to tap the 10 out.
So we'll see what Andrew Mertins can do here to try to end the single pin streak for his team. Just incredible. 5 straight corner pins for that team. Looks really nice out of his hand and rings another single pin.
Did they not get the memo that this wasn't a 9-pin tap tournament for you, Phil?
I guess not. And they bowled great during qualifying. I mean, they were the #5 seed coming in. They won their match. to get to the semifinals here. You can see once again, Andrew thinks he threw a great shot, and just what do I got to do to carry that 7? You don't even have to lip read off him. You just see the shoulders go down and the head turns. Stays with that cover. And if I was a college coach, Chad, I'd be looking at Andrew Mertins right now with that spare making on TV first time out. Pretty good.
I have no idea why you are telling me that.
For those of you who don't forget, Chad, coach of the UW Panther men's and women's bowling programs. So right in the middle of your season, you got some good tournaments coming up. Traveling the blue and gold this year?
We are traveling the blue gold the third weekend in January. That's our first big tier 1 of the year, so that's always a great tournament. It tracks over 100 schools from around the nation, so that's our first big test of the year, and we're definitely looking forward to it.
And your girls' team standings quite well in the WCBC, the Wisconsin Collegiate Bowling Conference standings. I believe they're still in first place,
They
correct?
are in first place. They've gone 2 for 2, and I'm very proud of them. Right now they're ranked 21st in the nation, so they're having an outstanding season so far.
Awesome. See Ryan here to catch that blower 10-pin and gets it covered up nicely, keeping his team clean and keeping that 34-pin lead, getting into the 7th frame. Courtney's got to be thinking to herself, what am I going to change here to strike?
Yeah, and they're running out of time right now, and I think, you hope they don't start forcing shots or out of desperation trying something really drastic, because they've been there all day. It's not necessarily anything they're doing wrong, just some bad luck.
You can see, they've bowled good all day. They got Westosha Central in the quarterfinals, beat them 2-0 to get into the semis here, and finally a strike for Courtney. You hear the crowd cheer from Racine Parkside. High fives going around.
And now watch this ball. You can see it set up and drive almost to the left of the 5-pin on that one, and that's exactly what you need.
Prettiest strike off the bowling deck. When you split that 8 and the 9 and they just go to either side. I like that when that happens. You can see Kenosha Bradford didn't have to bowl in the semifinals. They were the #1 qualifier. Team average of 215 for 2 regular team games and 4 Baker double games. So led the field by over 100 pins after those games. And you can see why with Mandi continuing to strike.
Absolutely. That was an absolutely perfect shot right there.
So Andrew's double here is key. Your max score right now, you're looking at 225. And the only way that Bradford stays at that pace is if they go strike spare off the sheet. So this one in frame number 8 is huge. Let's see what this freshman from Racine Park's made of here. Little chunky out of his hand. Yeah, you can just see it just didn't seem to hit up on it properly. A little spinny.
Yep. Yeah, he lost a little bit at the bottom of the swing there. It never got into its roll where he wanted. And he still left himself something to make. It's a lot easier to make than that 3-5-6 that he had up.
So single pin will stay with his strike ball. Just move across lane and try to hook it through that oil in the middle. And that just was a little left out of his hand, and yeah, that's going to be match over right now, basically. That gets your team down by 46 pins with only 2 frames to go, and Bradford's working on a strike. Yeah, this one's almost in the bag for Bradford.
I think that shot right there shows you that even though this is just a house shot, you still have to think about where you're going to shoot your spare. There is a giant wall of oil in that middle part of the lane.
And if that ball can't get across, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. And that's the shutout shot right there. No doubt about that. Now it's just Bradford's going to have to get themselves lined up for the final match. As the #1 seed, they'll get lane choice when they come back to the pair after the second semifinal. Something tells me they're going to stay on lane 24.
I absolutely would stay on lane 24.
So I'm sure maybe they could try a ball change. They could try a different line, because the lanes are definitely going to change in the game that whichever team takes lane 24 in the second semifinal. And Courtney, 5 great shots for Courtney again on TV.
And going back to your point about making a ball change or a line change, it's something that all your viewers should understand, that the lanes change every time you throw the ball. So every shot you make has to have a purpose. When you're practicing, every shot needs to have a purpose of what you're doing with the ball, because the oil patterns are changing with every throw.
So it looks like Mandi made a little bit of a move there. She's trying to play a little more directly. You saw earlier that ball checked up.
Absolutely, and that's something that the lanes transition here very quick, and they never stop transitioning after that.
So you can see she was checking her soul out a little bit, wasn't happy with her slide at the follow-through, but when you move that little bit farther left thinking you might find some extra hold and you know it's not there, at least it's not going to surprise them when they come back to the pair for the championship match. Take the 2, move on, you got the match well in hand. Now it's just a matter of what kind of score you can put up there. 224 max for Bradford. See what Andrew Mertins can do here to finish out strong for his team. They can still get 193 if he can strike out. And I'm impressed with this young man. As a freshman, coming out here, first time on TV, with a partner who's a senior at Racine Park, been on a championship team, state championship team at Racine Park. He held his team's end of the bargain up quite well.
And what you really like to see is the groundwork is there. His physical game is very solid, nice and low at the foul line, so there's a lot of things that are going right for him.
Yeah, I want to thank, does a lot of his bowling at Castle Lanes. I want to thank, of course, Lenny Borsch at Bowler's Choice Pro Shop down there, and Phil and Patty Anko. Ryan Schroeder from Bradford wants to thank Phil and Patty too. He works there, so wants to make sure he thanks them. We're just going to fast track through the end of this match here. No longer in doubt. See if Ryan can put 3 strikes on the board and get his team to 224. Nice straight follow through. And just a little quick again to leave that 10.
Yeah, that's something that they're going to have to watch out for. I mean, he's using the same ball, pretty much the same line, and you know what? You are going to leave him from time to time. So I don't think I would necessarily overthink leaving that 10-pin right there.
Yep. So we're going to save a little time here. We're going to let the bowlers finish up this match. We'll give you the final scores when we come back next game. So be sure to join us for semifinal number 2 here from New Berlin Bowl for the 2013 High School Mixed Doubles Classic, presented by 900 Global in just a moment. One semifinal in the books. Kenosha Bradford finished up with 214 over Racine Park's 171. And Chad, 2 really solid teams here from Sussex Hamilton and Waterford. And Lithda Phattaphone from Sussex Hamilton leading us off here.
Yeah, in fact, both their bowlers are left-handed, so hopefully they can communicate pretty well, play the lanes together. Nice shot there by Lithda, just a little high, leaving a 6-pin.
So, yeah, it's one. Her brother Somi, I see, always working on his game as well. Family's big bowlers. Dad, I've seen in the Lane Series Bowls League here at New Berlin Bowl. So, family's pretty familiar with this house.
Absolutely.
Let's see, takes her time, cross lane. A little cupping on that wrist to get things going. Pulls up through it. Kind of reminds me of Scott Devers pulling up through the shot back in the 1980s. There, he always had that pull up, but he made it work for him. So I mean, he had 5 or 6 titles out on tour before he retired.
Yes, folks, we had a Scott Devers reference here in 2012.
Yeah, go to YouTube if you need to check that out. So
I think he's still running a center for Albee too down in Indiana.
Yes, he is. He works for Mike Albee, that great PBA Hall of Famer as well. And Ryan Kiedrowski, out here from Waterford, bowls in River City Lanes and starts with a strike. All these first-timers on TV, Chad, and they're throwing strikes. It's amazing.
That's probably the best thing for them, too, is it just relaxes them, kind of gets that monkey off their back. They go, hey, I can do this. It's the same game if the lights are on or if the lights are off.
Well, we've seen Alex Fischer once before, bowled with a lefty, Sam Figurino, in our Youth Challenge Series Festival Doubles back in 2011. And a good shot for Alex to start with, but just once again, we see corner pin mania in lane 23.
Yeah, and we definitely saw the lefty in the last match leaving 7s, and now we're seeing Alex leaving 7s. So it's something that you got to keep an eye on.
So Alex, does he got 300 on his resume there, Chad?
No, 288.
That's going to change pretty soon, no doubt about that. Sussex Hamilton, they bowl their practices and their home matches at Sussex Bowl. Stars family owns that. They've owned that there for years, along with Brown Deer Bowl and Brown Deer. I want to thank Stability Strikes for coming on board. It's true. If you're bowling without your stability strikes, it's like you're bowling barefoot. Most comfortable socks I've ever worn bowling, and they're great to wear everywhere else, too. They're going to be sponsoring the Midwinter High School Classic team event you'll see next year, thanks to our friends at Time Warner Cable Sports 32. And Jessica Nannemann, second time on TV this season. She won the Barbieres Classic on the U Challenge Series from Motion Plus lanes. And she's throwing the ball great again today. Just leaves that kind of weak 10-pin.
Yeah, and that could be, part of the ball that is that a Defiant? Is that what she's throwing, Phil?
I believe, yeah, that is a Defiant.
And
so.
it could have just rolled out a hair early because of how aggressive of a ball that is.
Yeah, she's a pretty medium speed player, so it could happen to players with slower medium speeds. You'll see the ball roll out sometimes. I know Brad Angelo, he won the PBA Viper a couple of weeks back on TV, and he mentioned about how he couldn't keep up with his slower ball speed with the guys on tour because his equipment was rolling out on him on a lot of patterns. So it was kind of nice seeing Brad in the winner's circle again.
Absolutely.
Got to do some commentary with him a couple of years ago at the Sean Yonan. Special guest this year up there is going to be Shannon O'Keefe, and I don't think that 7-9 is going to be too happy with Lithda right now. Ooh, that was one of those ones that didn't look that weak hitting the pocket. And I've even left one or two of those a season where I go, I didn't think it was that bad.
But if you watched that ball going through the pocket, it almost looked like the ball deflected to the 4. And so you have an issue there where you have to decide, is it the ball not rolling up, rolling out? And you might have to make a ball change to something with a little less surface to it to get through the heads quicker.
Yeah, and it could definitely be a rollout situation. As you said, sometimes the most aggressive piece in your bag isn't always the best one to be using on the lanes because the ball loses all of its energy before it gets to your pocket. See what Ryan can do here. Very deliberate with those 4 steps and that little hop on the bottom. And sometimes I think that gets him if his timing's a little slow with his swing. Ball gets to the bottom of the swing, and all of a sudden his foot's trying to hop already.
Oh, sure. And if you noticed, those steps that he had on this shot versus his first frame, they were slower. And the hop was more, you saw the hop a lot more intense.
So, that's the one thing. Sometimes bowlers try to control their swing with their feet, the cadence of their feet and everything, and really they should just kind of change their position on where the ball's held in their stance in order to make that change. Well, that's one thing that's always out there. There's coaches out there like Chad and myself, always willing to get out there and give lessons. We've always got information in the local bowling centers, and you can usually find one of us here at New Berlin Bowl, here or there. And Dwight Albrecht, the pro shop here at New Berlin Bowl, he always gives lessons on a regular basis as well. And Alex needs a lesson on how to get that 7-pin out.
Well, I thought he had that. If you saw that the 4-pin came out of the flat gutter and tapped it, and I thought it was going to go over, but I don't think he can be too hard on himself for that. That was a great shot.
So yeah, you watch that rocking and rolling, and it, the USBC says a pin needs to get 8 degrees of tilt for it to fall over, and that got to about 7.96, I think.
Yeah.
Without doing it. And the key thing here, keep the composure, keep the spare made. The other team hasn't started stringing strikes yet. You're only down by a mark in the 4th frame. You can make it up in a hurry, even after your teammate's bad break. Well, we'll see what Jessica can do here, getting into commercial break for semifinal number 2. Want to thank the Spare Time Bowling Show for sponsoring the Spare Time Top Gun Tournament. We'll be taping that in February. Some of the best high school singles bowling you'll get. Airing in March at Time Warner Cable Sports 32. And once again, ringing 10 pins. Well, that wasn't exactly ringing. That was pretty low in the flat gutter.
Well, and that shot, she started it further inside, and you can see the ball never really doing anything in the back end. So that just got in the oil, and it never got out to the dry.
So just want to thank her mom, Sandy, dad, Jim, both cheering her on back there. Not that there's ever nervous bowling parents anywhere. Moves cross lane for that 10-pin, covers it up nicely. Commercial break coming up right now. Join us for the rest of the semifinal number 2 for the 2013 High School Mixed Doubles Classic from New Berlin Bowl in just a moment. Four frames in the books for semifinal number 2 from New Berlin Bowl. Thanks to our friends at 900 Global sponsoring the 2013 High School Mixed Doubles Classic. And Chad Lithda here has got to bounce back from a bad break in frame number 3. Looking to get that ball to roll up nicely, and once again, the ball just gets to the head pin and just kind of gives up on her.
Yeah, I definitely think I would take a look at my arsenal and see what else I got and try anything, because that ball's not doing anything for her right now.
Yeah, that ball deflected all the way around the 5-pin, and never an easy spare in any situation, making the 5-6. But now you're under the TV lights. You got to keep your team in the match. And as soon as we say that, it's like she's made 100 of them in her life.
Well, and what you have to do as a bowler is you look at that and say, well, it's a 3-5-6 without the 3-pin up. So if you shoot at it the same way, you got a good chance of making it.
So Ryan Kiedrowski here, up for Waterford, trying to maintain his team's lead. He's got a strike and a spare on the board after his first 2 frames. A good 3 feet behind the foul line, but apparently that 63-foot lane works for him, Chad.
Sometimes, the longer you make the lane, the more time you give the ball to roll. I guess it might work.
Yeah, as long as you're getting the ball out of the lane far enough. I mean, we see a lot of times where young bowlers stay far away from the foul line, and the ball hits actually behind the foul line and changes the roll and really weakens it before it gets to the pocket. Alex Fischer, we don't have to worry about a weak roll with him here, do we? And another rocking 7-pin. And he's just going to himself right now, what do I got to do? And they had a tough battle. They were the number 2 seed after qualifying. Number 7, McGuanago, almost pulled the upset, throwing 222 at him the last game, but Sussex Hamilton had 257, ran off the last 8 strikes to get to that 257 to get things done. You could see there Alex not happy with the result of that shot.
And that's unfortunately something we see with the younger bowlers is they throw a great shot, and instead of looking at it and saying, hey, it was a good ball, I'm just going to run this down and keep my team in it, they let frustration take hold, and they just make a little bit of a mistake.
And now that's an extra 11 pins that they just gave to Waterford, and with Jessica Nannemann up working on a strike for her team. Can you say 21-pin swing here if she gets a strike? She kind of tapped that one a little bit, but it held pocket.
Started in the oil again, but like you said, the release almost spun it, so it just sat all the way down the lane.
Yeah, 2 very distinct release styles for the Waterford players. Ryan, very end over end. You see a big heavy roll coming in. Jessica, more of a spinny type release to get the ball down the lane with her slower ball speed. But they both got all 10 pins straight back in the pit. See what Lithda can do here to get a strike for her team here. Looking for the first one. And can't get the 5 to take out the 10. Boy, right now, if I'm the team that gets out of this match, you got to be thinking to yourselves, I'm going to be stuck on lane 23 next game, because after Kenosha Bradford, you see Ryan and Mandi sitting on the sidelines here. They're taking 24. There's no doubt about it.
There's no way I am going to bowl on 23.
And it's not that the shot's that different. They just have to find a way to get the ball to respond to the lane and face up to the pocket and carry a little bit better. So, want to thank our friend Dwight Albrecht here at Spare Time Pro Shop inside of New Berlin Bowl. Always one that I always see out helping kids get better with their bowling when he's got time. If the shop's a little slow. So, but he's usually pretty busy doing nuggets for bowlers.
Shop slow, Duyn? No,
yeah,
I don't think so.
Usually on like a Sunday afternoon. And a 3-bagger for Waterford with Ryan Strike. And this one getting out of hand, 45-pin lead for Waterford. And with a maximum score right here of 202 for Sussex Hamilton, if they can strike out in the 8th, 9th, and 10th, this could be trouble. All of our teams today getting plaques and individual medals, thanks to our friends, the Wagner family at Trophy Athletic. And I think Alex is going to have a plaque made of I hate the 7-pin. Because that's 4 in a row he's seen in that lane. We thought last game with Courtney seeing 3 in a row and Andrew seeing 3 in a row of their respective corner pins, that was going to be the record for the day. Nope, Alex just broke it, unfortunately.
Well, and the last 3 have been all where they've been tapped. I mean, the pins are rocking, so, I mean, nothing you could do. Good composure there on the spare.
Lithda and Alex kind of have exact opposite problems with their ball reaction right now. Alex is using a very weak piece, and it's just not quite finishing at the pocket. Lithda's ball a little strong, and it's rolling out before it gets to the pocket. So, if each of those two could have found a happy medium, maybe they'd be kicking out a couple more corners here. Jessica not happy with that shot at all. You could just see her timing was just way off.
Oh, yeah, she stood up out of the shot. It just was left out of her hand.
So, Waterford beat West Dallas Central in a tough match as well. Win all 3 games, pulled it out 200 to 165. So, West Dallas Central, I know we're going to see them in the Midwinter Classic on the boys' side. Just got that entry confirmed, so maybe they'll make their first TV show ever for the Bulldogs. Rudy Erickson doing a great job coaching the kids this year. Nice interview him and Kyle both had, his son, on the Spare Time radio show a couple of weeks back. Well, match is done. Now you're just bowling for pride, Chad.
Yeah, you just want to end on a good note, throw some good shots up there, and that's about all you can do.
See if Lithda makes a little bit of a move. Looks like she's pointing that one a little earlier there. You can see she did get some point, and it responded a little quicker for her, unfortunately, through the nose.
Right, and I mean, that's real common too. You start leaving weak leaves, 7 pins, 7 9s, 5 10s, whatever they might be. So you think, I'm going to get this ball into the pocket where I want, and you usually overcompensate then.
Oh, little stick at the line. And of course, when it rains, it pours. You make a great shot, make a 5-6, leave a 4-7, chop it.
Right.
So, well, if you're Waterford right now, you got to be thinking to yourself, I know we're going on lane 23 the next game. They will get some practice on lane 23 before they start. What do you do when you move lanes? I mean, they have, Jim Nannemann's the coach for the Waterford girls team. He can help them out between games. If you were Jim, what would you suggest on the move to lane 23?
I would, if they have anything in their bag that is a strong pearl that's going to react harder in the back end, that's the first ball I throw.
Okay.
I definitely think you're seeing an old ebonite nitro being thrown, which is going to push oil all over the place, and then a nano, which is just reading too early. So I think if you can get something that goes longer down the lane but more aggressive in the back end, I think that can solve that problem.
And the big cheer goes out for the Sussex Hamilton crowd. The first strike for the team. In the 10th frame, Alex is, he's got to be frustrated, but he's going to lead that team in the Midwinter Classic, trying to make TV as well. Got 8 solid teams on the boys' side from District 1 in the Milwaukee-Waukesha area and District 3A in Racine, Kenosha. Another great shot for Alex. We'll let you know if he gets all 3 in a row. We're going to let the 2 bowlers finish out this game here. We'll give you the final score match of this match and get you into the championship match in just a moment when we return, so make sure you stay tuned.
I have a lot of viewers that ask me, why do you have so many of your tournaments at Castle Lanes? Well, Castle Lanes is a center that has an exceptional atmosphere. The charm of being in a Northwoods cabin while you bowl, an attentive staff on the lanes and in the lounge, all the big screen TVs and a free Wi-Fi hotspot, and being named in Bowler's Journal as one of the 95 places to bowl before you die, you have to bowl at Castle Lanes. That's why we love Castle Lanes, and you will too.
You wouldn't run on jagged rocks barefoot, and you wouldn't play volleyball barefoot either. So why would you feel like you're bowling barefoot? That's why you need Stability Strike socks. By using mohair yarn, spandex, wool, and other fabrics, Stability Strikes will provide you with more comfort and support than other athletic socks on the market. Get all the details about the SS300 socks from StabilityStrikes.com.
Join Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Van the Man McNeil, Dwight 5-time Albrecht, and other guests as they talk about the PBA Tour and local bowling on the Spare Time Bowling Show, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on Sports Radio 1250 WSSP. All right, bowling fans, you waited all day for it. Waterford out of their semifinal with a 215-168 win over Sussex Hamilton. What a surprise. Kenosha Bradford's the top seed, took lane 24, Chad, and they've got Waterford starting on lane 23 with Ryan Kiedrowski.
And you and I talked between the games, if I'm on lane 23 and I'm throwing global equipment, I'm picking up the dirty look, because that is an absolute beast when you need a ball that's going to make a hard break at the end.
Well, Ryan with a good start there. Ball rolled up early. A lot of forward roll that he has keeps it on line. And, boy, if he could throw 5 of those on that lane, his team could be in pretty good shape against Bradford here.
And what's going to help him is there's been 3 out of the 4 bowlers that have been left-handed on lane 23, so he's pretty much hitting still a fresh condition.
So, yeah, exactly. And meanwhile, Kenosha Bradford did get practice on 24 coming back on the lane before their match. And, I know that they made slight changes. Looks like Ryan's a little farther left than he was on the match before. You could say he's trying to play it straight in the oil, and that's what happens sometimes with quick speed and not enough ball turning over in the back end.
Sure, and that kind of Swisher 7-pin or a Swisher 10 for a lefty, very common leave when you're playing in the oil, because it doesn't get the pins to react exactly the way you want. But not a bad shot, not a bad opening shot. I like the adjustment they made. I think that's going to pay off for them.
Yeah, and they know, I mean, it only took 215 to win, 2 teens to win both these matches so far. If you can shoot 220 in the last game, you probably have a pretty good odds of winning. So a nice spare to start for Kenosha Bradford. Waterford, though, get out to the early double. That could be the first lead we'd see on lane 23 all day, and Jessica Nannemann was pretty solid in that last game.
Well, and that would be very interesting to see how Bradford responds to that, because they've been in control the entire way.
So, and interesting, both teams going with the ladies bowling anchor this game. Last match it was just Waterford. The first match for Bradford, Ryan bowled anchor. The ladies have a little better look on the lanes than the guys right now, it must be.
Well, and you like to see that. I mean, obviously coaching at the college level and coaching the men's and the women's, you see how good some of these women bowlers are nowadays, and it's refreshing to see how these teams switched it up like that.
Yeah, and you go with the bowler, it's got the hot hand in that anchor spot. If you need somebody to throw 1 or 2 strikes in the 10th, I mean, not a couple of bad choices to have there with Jessica and Mandi, no doubt about that. So, Mandi looking to get out here, get her team back on the strike train, keeping an even match after 2 frames. So, just to get the feel of the ball, she does that swing before every shot on the back of the approach. And she really gets that ball moving early into her 4 steps.
Well, and you just watch how loose the arm swing is, and then at the bottom of the swing, how she snaps up on it, but the arm still swings back and forth. And that was a great shot by Mandi.
So, once again, Stability Strikes, co-sponsor of this high school tournament. They're also going to be sponsoring the Midwinter High School Classic. So I want to thank them for coming on board. Check out their website at stabilitystrikes.com. See what a great product they offer for your bowling, golf, exercise, any needs that you need. And we saw that with Lithda last match where the ball just was a little weak. Now for Ryan, once again, the 5 doesn't do the job getting into the 7.
We'll see if they make an adjustment. He might move actually a little bit right and try and play a little bit more in the dry part of the lane to get the ball to drive harder.
So it's going to move cross lane a little bit. Stay direct at that 7 pin. Covers it up nicely. Keeping clean. That's going to be the key to this match. We've seen in the first 2 semifinals, early opens were really the downfall of teams trying to have to play catch-up the rest of the way.
And it's hard to do no matter when you're bowling to try and dig yourself out of an early hole. But when you're on TV, it's amplified even more.
Well, let's see what Ryan does here on this shot to bounce back off that 7 pin. Definitely farther to the right. He let the dry take over on that shot.
And that's one of the adjustments at this house, that the first adjustment is actually moving out and then making that big jump in. So he probably is going to end up moving left eventually, but that first move should have been right instead of left.
Yeah, and you could just see he got the ball to dry, and I think he was probably just hoping the ball held all the way back into the pocket more than just, is it going to hit the pocket? It's like, don't go through the face. Don't leave me a big split. Let's see what Jessica can do here. Nice post at the line, and that's going to have to really hold pocket. And once again, just a little bit of a struggle trying to get on the right side of that 1-3 pocket today.
Well, and that's a surprise because we haven't really seen overreaction out of any of these bowlers today. So now we're going to start seeing that adjustment left.
Yeah, maybe she'll just have to trust that ball a little farther right, like Ryan's doing. We've seen the ball will come back today on this modified house pattern. But once again, Jessica, great spare shooter, no problem covering up that spare. And we'll see what Mandi can do here. Try to get her team a 3-bagger going into the commercial break and try to get out to a 22-pin lead. Mandi's just been pounding the pocket all day. She made that one mistake in the 9th frame of her semifinal, but I think that was more of an area check than anything. It's, hey, we've got the opportunity to try to see what's out there, and it was the perfect time to do it because she was back in the pocket her first time and just back in the pocket the second time. But once again, we see the elbow get it out a little early, and it just changes the roll on the ball here.
And that one looked a little quick to me, too. I think it skated right through the break point and never picked up where she wanted it to start rolling.
So they had that semifinal victory, get themselves in the championship match here. Winner today will get a 900 Global Freight Train bowling ball thanks to our friends at 900 Global. We're going to get into the commercial break for our championship match. Join us in New Berlin Bowl for the rest of this game in just a moment. Looking at the last 6 frames here in a tight championship match for the 2013 High School Mixed Doubles Classic. Ryan Kiedrowski stepping up in Waterford's 5th frame, looking to keep his team within 11 pins. That hop at the bottom of the swing again, Chad, and wow, brutal.
Now you're starting to see both bowlers have a little bit of overreaction on lane 23, which is very interesting because, like we said before, there were 3 lefties over there. There was only 1 righty.
And we really didn't see overreaction with Courtney Johnson, the only righty on 23. And her roll style is pretty similar to Ryan's right there. So Courtney very heavy on the forward roll as well. Well, you got to get the 1 pin at least and try to get out of here and keep yourself within 22, 23 pins here. Just on the basis of if you catch a double later on,
right,
and your opponent doesn't, you can make up pins in a hurry. So 24 pins is the difference, with Ryan Schroeder stepping up in Bradford's 5th frame. Sure, he's got, I wonder what Bieber tune's running through his head right now, Chad.
I don't think I would have known.
So, nice follow through at the bottom. And, oh, he gets them all to carry. I thought we may see that 7 pin he left in the first frame again, but the head pin got over and did its job coming off the wall. Pretty good shot there by Ryan.
That just shows you how this game is. You know, you throw what you think is a really good ball, you leave a 7, you leave a 10, you throw one that you hang inside and you're like, oh, this is going to leave something, and everything falls over.
Jessica wanted to make sure she thanked her grandpa Phil and her grandma Patty for all the help they've given over the years, and a great shot there by Jessica. She made that adjustment and got that ball farther right.
That's right.
Action heating and cooling. If you need any heating needs this winter, it's going to get chilly pretty soon. I mean, we've gotten away with a pretty mild one so far, but always give them a call or check out their website at actionwi.com. We'll have the Action Alternate Shot Doubles from Motion Plus Lanes coming to you in February, thanks to our friends at Time Warner Cable Sports 32. It's our 6th season with them, Chad. Where is all the time gone? Mandi in the 6th frame for Bradford, and just squeaks the 7 out.
That wall shot here is so effective. I really like how that shot's set up. Perfect line.
Well, let's see what Ryan does here. Something tells me he went back after that 4-9, and he's going to move his feet a couple boards into the left. Just try to play tight, but make sure that he's got enough leak room to the right so he doesn't go high again. Real heel to toe on those steps. All the way through. Gets it to roll up and just gets the 5.
Yep, that's all it took, though.
That's right. You know, in the old game of 9 pins, you want to leave the 5 pin because it was worth more points than the strike. A little bit of bowling knowledge there I got from when we were in Corpus Christi for USBC Nationals quite a few years back. You get outside of Corpus Christi, and 9 pins is still the most popular game down there as compared to 10 pins. But they use regular bowling equipment, but they set up 9 pins in a triangle, in a diamond.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you leave the 5 pin, it's worth more. And wow, Ryan, we saw him in the game number 1, left it screaming 10 pin. This time, head pin comes back across, takes the 10, but the 5 forgets to do its job on the 7.
Well, and he got that ball out a lot further than he did before, and I think the ball just ran out of energy, so that's why you almost saw the 7-10 on that shot.
I would have left the 5 with the whole thing.
Wow.
That's just me. So, no problem covering that up for Ryan. Keeps his team well ahead. Getting into the 8th frame here. Well, Waterford not out of this. They're only 23 pins down. We talked about it earlier. You get that extra carry of a strike where your opponent does it, right here, they can make that whole lead right up.
That's the neat thing about these matches and with this doubles format. Boy, I mean, the match can turn on a dime depending on how your team is.
Rolls up nice, but just a hair weak.
Yeah, that looked like a good shot. I thought she was going to carry it, but just deflected enough.
And once again, lane 23 is just being brutal to the teams that are on it. And it's not that they're not hitting the pocket. We saw it with Sussex Hamilton. Hit the pocket, hit the pocket, hit the pocket, and just finding a way to carry that strike. Keeps her composure, though. Switches over to that polyester ball. No problem covering that spare up. That's why she's the anchor of that Waterford girls team. They're another team ranked in the top 10 in the high school state poll right now. And, you know, you got to lead by example. If you're the anchor, you're not going to strike every shot. You better make your spares. How many Baker games are decided high school, college by less than a mark?
Oh, I can't. And that's what turns a coach's hair gray. You know, I mean, there's no other way to say it.
Well, Mandi here trying to keep that 20-plus pin lead for Bradford, getting into the last 2 frames, and once again, that little bit of a weak 10.
but she's making the shots that she needs to make. She's putting it right in the pocket. That was a great shot right there. You just got to run down the 10-pin. Now, pretty much the way that Kenosha can bowl is whatever Waterford does, that's all we got to do.
Yeah. Match them the rest of the way out. Keep the ball in play. Don't leave washouts. Don't leave big fours. And make them string strikes to get ahead of you and win the match. So right now, 23 pins is the difference. Castle Lane's host of the Stability Strikes Midwinter High School Team Classic. You'll see that at our next show here on Time Warner Cable Sports 32. Some awesome teams will be bowling at. All teams that are ranked in the top 12 teams in the Spare Time High School State Poll. And Ryan, boy, he bounced back nice off that 4-9. I give him credit for that.
Very nice, and that's the shot they needed to set up their 10th frame to give them a chance.
So 214 still out there. If Bradford were to spare off the sheet with some bad counts, they could finish in the lower 2 teens. So this one, far from over. Ryan, there you see, look down, it looks like he made a little bump to the left with his feet, maybe just a half aboard. Playing that oil line, you can see how long that ball skidded.
Right, yeah.
And you can see the big difference at about 40 feet, about 2/3 of the way down the lane, where if they hit the oil line, it doesn't turn over hard. They get it to that dry, it barks up real quick.
And, now is the point in the match where the other team's got to strike up and you go, the last thing I wanted to leave was a multi-pin spare. I know it's a 2-8. Most bowlers probably think, well, this isn't too hard. Anytime you have more than one up, something bad can happen.
Especially with the oil in the middle and a house pattern, but he covers it nicely. Want to thank our hosts here at New Berlin Bowl for everything they've done with the inaugural High School Mixed Doubles Classic. Landon Karras, the manager here. Steve Chard, the general manager of the facility. Once again, another great outing here. That's why we like having our tournaments at New Berlin Bowl, as well as Castle Lanes, Sunset Bowl, Lakeshore Lanes at Sheboygan. We get some quality centers for our events. It's nice being in centers like that. And that's going to be the end of it for Waterford.
Still a great day for them. I don't think they have anything to be disappointed about. But, yeah, that ball just hit the lane, and it started hooking, and it never stopped.
Yeah, they needed to get the first strike for sure there to put any pressure on Kenosha Bradford, on Mandi in the 10th frame. And even with a spare here, their maximum right now is 194. All Mandi would have to do is get an 8 count, and they'd be at 195. So this one well in the bag. And now with that miss, it's over. 182 is the final score for Waterford. They're not going home empty-handed, though. They get the nice medals from Trophy Athletic, a plaque for their home center of their school, thanks to Trophy Athletic, and 2-ball tote bags from 900 Global, and those got to be the nicest 2-ball tote bags ever made.
They are. The bag line that 900 Global has is fantastic. The 3-ball totes with the pouches and the 2-ball totes, they don't fall apart like some other ones do.
And there's the cherry on the sundae right there. You see Mandi with the smile coming back. The low 5 to Ryan. That one, they know, locks it up. They get the 900 Global Freight Train bowling balls, the Stability Strike socks, the plaque. I'm sure the plaque will go up at Surfside and Kenosha, and the medals for themselves too. So thanks to all of our sponsors today for the great awards to the kids. Just to try to finish this off, they can strike out, get 225. That was out a little bit right early, and that's, good thing they didn't see that a couple of frames beforehand. This could have been a way different match.
But you go up there kind of when you have it locked up, and you don't necessarily throw it with the same concentration level. So,
ho hum, she gets 2 here. They're at 213. Just get none.
That's the none I would have gone after. Yeah.
211. So they got the victory though. Hugs, high fives, handshakes all around. Chad and I'll be back from New Berlin Bowl. We're going to wrap up this inaugural High School Mixed Doubles Classic. Make sure you stay tuned for that wrap up.
The Milwaukee area's bowling party specialist, whether for a small group or a large fundraiser. Daily food and beverage specials, whether you're on the lanes or inside the spacious alehouse. Whether for a casual meeting, business luncheon, or wedding reception, our banquet and meeting facilities can fit your needs. New Berlin Ale House, West Cleveland Avenue, New Berlin. Barbiere's, a Milwaukee institution since 1963. Great Italian food for dine-in or carry-out, and great times for your family and friends. Barbiere's in the heart of South Milwaukee and near Miller Park on Blue Mound Road.
Well, Chad, we talked about before the show started today, Kenosha Bradford having the advantage of experience, but because they were the number 1 seed, they got to bowl both their matches on lane 24 here at New Berlin Bowl, and that was kind of the difference in both matches with the carry problems everybody had on lane 23.
Yeah, sometimes I think the advantage of being able to choose your lane is underestimated in the sport, and today you saw that was the main factor, because lane 24, the pins carried a little better than 23, saw a lot of great shots on 23, but a lot of stubborn corner pins.
Absolutely. We're going to be back next with the Stability Strikes High School Team Midwinter Classic. Always a great tournament from Castle Lanes. Always good scoring down there. We get teams from all over Wisconsin to come down. And I'll tell you what, every year, it's always an exciting show for that tournament.
Absolutely. I mean, I enjoy coming down and watching that tournament. The electric atmosphere, the center itself, Castle Lanes, is a great host for you. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this year brings.
Make sure you join us from Castle Lanes for that. For my friend Chad Source, I'm Phil Brylo. When parents take the kids bowling, they'll have fun for life. We'll see you again from Castle Lanes.